All right, everyone. I was not expecting to go live today, and you can tell this because I'm wearing bright, warm greens, which make me look pink as hell as a human. And that's something that I would avoid on camera because this will haunt me forever, going back through our streams that I did this to myself. However, it seems that we have already begun teasing our upcoming MOON Lunacy launch, and we have yet to do anything to sniff the MOON Lunacy launch from last month. These lunacies are a little squished together. I mean, normally we're running late, and so you never know when you're going to get the next one, but due to summer vacation schedules, etc., we really needed to get a move on with the next one. And so I figured it behooved me, even though I will look pink as hell, to get in there and sniff some of these before everyone forgets about them forever. Because while we will still have them for, I think, 2.5, 3, I don't know, entire months, lots of time left to get into the Idle Moon stuff, but that is time during which I might not necessarily be able to get in there and help with any sniffing impressions. So Galen's not here today. It's just me. That means things are a little different. It means I'm more likely to see any comments that you say while I'm streaming live because I won't have the distraction of an adorable person here on the other side of me, taking my focus off. In fact, you have all of my attention now. And that's, I might not have all of yours. You might be doing something else. I might be in the other room while you're going to the bathroom or making lunch or what have you. Oh, hi, Amy. So Amy, for example, I saw this because I was looking at the camera, was complimenting me on my hair because I've got some, mohawk, like some faux hawk mullet action happening, which is, I think it actually at this point could be classified as a medical description or medical diagnosis. I'd never consciously set out to become this way. Brianna's here. The people who talk to me and say that they are here, I know they are here, and then those who are watching otherwise don't know that those people are here unless I also say so. Kitty's here. Can you spell banana is here? I feel personally trolled by that. That reminds me of the moment in Showgirls where he asks her if she can spell MGM backwards. So, if time and battery life permits and I don't get too far afield, I will sit down first and smell as much Idle Moon as I can possibly sniff. And then, I don't see why I wouldn't just tease, like leak, actually, some of the Moon stuff, because Beth, in her, poor judgment, added me to the Google Doc, so I can see all of it. I know what's coming out. It's not launched yet. I mean, by the time, if you're watching this in the future, then it was launched. Maybe if you're watching this in the deep future, it's too late. But in the meantime, all I'm saying is I have information. So, can you spell banana is a Psych reference done poorly. And I don't know if that means the TV series or just like a psych reference to like something like a psychiatric evaluation. Am I being evaluated? It would help a lot. I also, okay, so look, I'm wearing warm green, so I look really pink. I'm wearing gay little shorts from Big Bud Press, which is just gonna be me for the rest of the summer. Yes, I could have brought the camera closer so you couldn't see the gay little shorts, but it's Pride Month. So it's just important that I show up as I am, pink as hell, and just so you know, I'm leaning into it because I'm wearing my pink little shoes too. So I'm not sitting here barefoot in gay little shorts, and I think that that is like a really important lifestyle distinction to make. I probably should say that I have been barefoot during a lot of the video filming for various reasons on various occasions, but I'm making an effort to wear the shoes so I remember that I'm at work. So, I've given folks about 5 minutes to join the live stream, and now I will just proceed as if everybody knows what I'm talking about, including me. Okay? Okay. Okay. So, oh yeah, I'm gonna save the R's and I, the classical art sense. I'm gonna save them from another time because I got shorted the asparagus inspired fragrance, which I must, as the person who talks about our fragrances online, again remind people is not meant to smell specifically like asparagus. That scent, a bundle of asparagus, Beth specifically said, this scent is vaguely inspired by asparagus, okay? So I don't want people coming in getting upset because they wore our perfume and it didn't smell like asparagus, it didn't make their pee do anything weird, it wouldn't anyway. But like, just remember that this is a pointy green vegetal scent that is inspired by asparagus. We do a lot of photorealism in the fragrance department, and this just isn't one of them. This is a fantasy. So I don't have that, so I'm gonna wait to do those. I'm just gonna drift through the idle moons, and then we'll see where this goes. Make sure that I can see my screen, but you can't see it. And then you'd see how many open tabs I have, and that my Chromebook is being held together at the moment with a binder clip because the screen has decided to file for divorce from the rest of the unit. So, idle moon. I guess I don't have to, this is like relatively easy to explain. I will go ahead this time and read the poem associated with the launch because I feel like it is textually important to the fragrance launch. It's a poem by Taigu Ryokan, and it says, "Too lazy to be ambitious, I let the world take care of itself. 10 days worth of rice in my bag, a bundle of twigs by the fireplace. Why chatter about delusion and enlightenment? Listening to the night rain on my roof, I sit comfortably with both legs stretched out." Gay little shorts, heavily implied. So, I'm not outing you, Taigu. I'm sorry. So, the fragrance, the Idle Moon fragrance, is 10 days worth of rice, a bundle of twigs, and a soothing cup of white tea. Well, I'll be the judge of that. It's nice having Galen gone because I can set the camera a little farther back. He's so quiet that I have to practically push it up in our faces because I'm worried that no one will be able to hear him. So it's funny because I was thinking about the bundle of twigs by the fireplace and how it could be like a more of a wintertime thing, but there is something beautifully fresh and lively about this in a very soft way that really fits the aesthetic of the label artwork, Drew Roush's label artwork that shows the skeleton in a hammock next to its own grave, presumably. Adorable. So I get it just like a breath of sweetness, kind of like a really, it's like the, I was gonna say vanilla, but it's the rice. It's just like a warm, gentle, sweet breath of something, and then surrounding a kind of a almost dusty woodiness. And then on the tail end of it, giving me like a kind of a kertwang, is just like that, a soft bite of the white tea. So, am I sitting up straight enough? The straighter I sit up, like I feel like the more naked I might look. Like you'll just have to trust me. Newcomers, come with me. You're safe here. Putting a generous amount on the skin, which was probably unwise. One thing I've noticed is that when people smell perfumes, I'm not like bossy about how you have to do this. If someone walks up and starts doing this, I will say that I notice a lot of people get really in there with the nostril, or even like hold one nostril closed and just like really take it in. And I'm just gonna say, and this is not really my opinion, I think generally the way fragrances are enjoyed historically, this is not the best way to really get to the bottom of what's in a fragrance. You really want to breathe in and draw air simultaneously through the nose, but then like into the mouth across sort of the back of the throat, across the top of the tongue. You know, you're never going to like taste it. Don't taste the perfume. But if you do a kind of a breath from both holes, all three holes, you're definitely going to pick up more of the subtleties of the fragrance. And that might not matter if you're getting like blasted with like Katy Perry Love Sauce or whatever her like, I don't know, an actual Katy Perry fragrance. You know, where it's just basically once you smell any of it, it just infects your whole body like molecularly through the skin. Um, but when you're, you know, everyone always comments on our descriptions and Beth's like whole library of notes, and if you really want to get in there and smell as much of it as possible, I definitely recommend kind of like training yourself to pull through the mouth and nose at the same time, delicately. A deep snort doesn't tell you any more than like a light breath would do. So while I just talked about that for 2 minutes, this had a chance to kind of settle in and make itself at home. I made sure to put on lotion before I did the video because moisturized skin tends to hold the fragrance longer. If your skin is dry, then the oil that the fragrance is made of will just be greedily absorbed directly into the skin. This is, I mean, appropriately, a beautifully gentle, comfy, outdoorsy fragrance that, because of the rice blend, does kind of cement itself like near the hearth or near the home. It really does give that sense of like doors open, windows open, or maybe like front porch swing, hammock next to a headstone, whatever you have to work with. It's like almost faintly grassy, but not like going crazy with the chlorophyll. The tea, I think, really lends itself to the coziness and that vibe of being like close to home. It reminds me, I'm not saying that there's, it says white tea, but I'm not saying there's chamomile in this, but this reminds me of like having a chamomile tea or something, an herbal tea at my local coffee shop, like where you can actually just spread out a little bit and no one's judging. How sweet versus not would you say it is? Well, that is, you know, completely subjective, but I would say this scent, it's like there's a hint of sweetness. There's, it reminds me of, well, I would say that it is definitely sweetened with something. Like it's not just a completely unsweetened rice smell. It does not like that like toasty rice. There's like definitely a hint of sweetness. It reminds me of some of the blends in the what is that collection? Triumph in My Song that we did, the Black Lives Matter fundraiser series. There are a few of those that hang out in a similar area where there's just like kind of like a rich herbal botanical thing, and then it's just kind of like the sweetness amplified, almost like you're looking at a beautiful idealistically painted scene of instead of like a photograph. You know how it's like gives it a bit of that like Thomas Kincaid kind of like glow. Everything's a little sweeter, a little warmer, a little richer than it probably would be, just to kind of give that like heightened sense. It's funny though, because I noticed I was looking at the reviews of these in the bpal.org web forum, and of the duets and such associated with this blend, and there was at least one review that was like, wow, these were way sweeter than I expected. So having read that before I got these, I was kind of ready to deal with that. And I honestly found that like it kind of varies. If this was if there's a sweetness scale, 10 being the absolute sweetest, 1 being like, oh no, no sweetness, I would place this probably at like a 4 at the most. It's, yeah. As a child, not coming from a family of means, when I was a kid, we grew up eating a lot of rice for breakfast with like milk and butter and sugar, which we would of course pile on the sugar and cinnamon so that it would actually taste like something. And this is way less sweet than that. I guess this is a good time to pivot to the duets, which I don't need to look up on the computer screen because the components are completely listed right here on the label. Actually, I should do them in the order, I guess, that they are presented here. So let's do that. That means starting with coconut milk and rice, which I have in my hand. So, coconut milk and rice. So, the duets that come out with each Lunacy, these are perfume oils that Beth, she creates. These are like simpler ideas, 2 notes-ish, that you could wear as a standalone fragrance, but the idea is they're all drawn from either the main Lunacy perfume or created like to complement it. So sometimes there are notes in these that are not in that scent, but would go really well with it. And other times it's like notes taken from that scent that are given kind of their own stage to shout from. So the coconut milk and rice, this is one I expected to be really sweet. And in the bottle, I'm kind of surprised because the coconut is way more of like a kind of a fresh, raw coconut. Like, you know how as a kid, if you hear about coconut milk, you're expecting some beautiful, sweet, delicious treat. And then, you know, if you're ever in a situation where you actually get to knock open a coconut and then drink what's inside, it's actually kind of shocking what that tastes like. It has way more of like the raw, woody, you know, flavor of like the wild thing that fell off of the tree. So that's what's here. That's what I smell mostly in the bottle. The rice is just kind of giving like a starchiness. I would give this a 2 or a 3 on the sweetness scale just on the bottle. So like layering this with the Idle Moon scent is not going to like sweeten it up, I don't think. But like, let's get it on the skin and see what happens. Because I have not... So the rice is opening up into like this, the mellow toastiness that actually does really smell like the Thai restaurant a little bit. It's like the mango sticky rice without the mango, and not as sweet as like the syrupy glop that is on. I'm sorry, I'm sure it has a name. It's like the most like white Western thing to be like, oh yeah, the syrupy glop they put on the sticky rice. I don't know what it's called. It's that beautiful creamy syrupy glop. It's not here. This is a tangent, but I had a chance to have a durian sticky rice at a restaurant recently, and I had never gotten to eat durian before. I had never really had a good opportunity that wasn't just buying a whole durian and then dealing with the disposing of the corpse when I was done not liking it. Or there was a place I went to that had a durian soft serve ice cream, and I did not feel that was the proper way to experience durian for the first time. So we got a durian sticky rice, and it came in this giant martini glass, and it had a lot of the glop, the syrup glop, which is wise, because if you're giving someone lots of durian, a whole mug of it, you really want something for them to chase it with. And I was not a fan of the durian. I was fascinated because I felt like tasting it. It went through like several stages with each bite. And there were parts of that process that I did appreciate or enjoy or was surprised by. But in the end, having gotten to the final phase of it, it got harder and harder to keep taking bites of it because overall I didn't enjoy it very much. I kind of was hoping I would love it so I could be one of those people who just like was like, oh yeah, people don't like this? That's weird. I love it. I'm special. Uh, I mean, you know, it is like an acquired taste, I think, for many, especially if you didn't grow up eating it. So I was like, I'm old, and it was not that fun. But I did bring it home in a to-go container and threaten Galen with it for days. And to my knowledge, he never did end up being brave enough to taste it. So, yes, there's like, the coconut milk does have this like wet, like almost like mineralic quality. It has like a wateriness to it. And then but there's like a clean, translucent, like whiteness overall to the fragrance, which I would have guessed might be like a white musk, except for there is a white musk in these duets coming up. So I really think that she has pulled scents from a particular palette or families. Like it's like on the color wheel, right? And she's just pulling from particular areas and threading them together. And it's really beautiful. And it's kind of quiet and appealing, and it's not like extra super gourmand. I can see how this would braid together really well with the tea and the other scent. So, and then just like kind of pulling it into a more gourmand place, but there's still those twigs. So next, we have Idle Moon's Duet, Jasmine Rice and White Musk. I feel like I have been like story produced. One day, while I'm doing these, my luck will run out and I'll discover that I have no idea what I'm doing and that nothing is set up for me to succeed. And where are you? That's not you. Mm-mm. No. Okay, this has got to be it. Yes, the jasmine rice and the white musk. Okay, real talk. How much hope are we pinning on a jasmine rice to have a jasmine fragrance note? Like, when I have eaten jasmine rice, I've never noticed it to be particularly jasmine-y. I think I mean, you know, rice flavors are subtle, generally. And so I'm curious to know. I mean, that was not a rhetorical question. I'm just asking in case someone says low, right? Right, I'm imagining low. I would be shocked if this was like a jasmine-y scent. But since the other one just said coconut milk and rice, no descriptor. So I'm curious to see if I can tell what sets this apart in any way. Welcome to my journey of self-discovery. Since it's constrained mostly to perfume sniffing, I'd say the guardrails are nice and high. It's like the bowling alley where they like turn the thing over so there's no gutter balls. All I have to do is smell and talk. Ah, okay. Okay, so first of all, this is completely beautiful. And the white musk, to me, seems directly traceable to the white musk that is in the Tomie fragrance from our Junji Ito collection licensed scent, Tomie. Like, I have worn that scent a lot, and there is overlap with it for sure in the white musk, and what's funny is that is subtly a jasmine scent. And so now I'm even more mentally tangled up in terms of what I'm tracking. This is definitely more perfumey than the other two I've tried so far, because the musk will really knock the legs right out from under a gourmand and kind of pivot it into a less foodie experience and more like a perfume. There is this beautiful, like, warm, chewy, lightly toasty note that I know people will be chasing in a rice scent. I'm sure Beth knows it too. But it's great. I mean, this is a rice perfume instead of like a perfume that smells like rice. I can't wait to try this on. Okay, if I don't ditch them in the right place, then I'm just adding to my future woes. Well, I love the Tomie fragrance, and that one is kind of like floral and also dark-sided. This takes that same kind of like idea and definitely brings it out into the daytime. It's like if Junji Ito just like wrote completely innocent romance manga where people were not being like turned inside out by like weird centipede ghosts or whatever. It has this, there's like a beautiful kind of like humidity to it, which again kind of like reminds one like slightly of like eating, but it doesn't smell like food. It's like, to me this smells like being on a date with somebody, like a first date at a restaurant where you're definitely more focused on the person and what they smell like than on the food you're tasting. I think it's so funny how often first dates and early dates especially revolve around going out to eat, because these are opportunities to like taste and enjoy something that you would maybe not normally pay for to eat by yourself. And then if the date's going really well, you basically never even remember having eaten. So there's a really a sense of like this lovely, soft, like closeness that's extremely inviting and that isn't in a particularly foodie experience. And it does have a bit of, it has that sticky rice like quality to it that did I try, was it an Idle Moon or was it maybe it was the coconut one, but just like from a different angle. It's really fascinating. It's sweeter, 4 to 5 on the sweetness scale. 5.5. It's a sweeter one. And the white musk can be used to temper sweetness sometimes, I think, talking out of my ass bone. So I'm kind of surprised that this still ends up being like as sweet as it is. Okay, well that's what I have to say about that. Next we're gonna do, oh, okay, well now we're pivoting to, I think it's alphabetically on the site, which is the Rice Milk and Mallow Hair Gloss, which I did actually get. And as lovely as my hair is now, whooshing out the back like a windsock, I don't really use a lot of hair gloss at the moment. There was a while there where my hair was nice and long and I was a hair gloss humper, but not anymore. Oh, Rice Milk and Mallow. This really, first of all, impressions, reminds me a bit of the Ghost Milk fragrance we did for a couple of Halloweens, which was like a rich, like marshmallow and goat's milk style, and I think musk scent. That's just like the one it reminds me of the most of all the various milky things we've done. It's so clean and innocent, and but it is also just like very sweet and very rich. Sweetness scale, I'd say like 7, 8. Really getting up there. And I think in this instance, like the rice is holding it back from like fully being all the way dessert sweet. It's so beautiful, just really smooth, and like it's got like a thickness that like the coconut milk is not a thick liquid, you know what I'm saying? This really like smells as like heavy and syrupy as the oil probably is in real life, thicker even. I'm not gonna spray this. In my experience, the hair glosses have not been like super morphers. You know, they kind of just like smell like what they smell like. I think this is gonna warm up on the skin. I mean, if it, or whatever you're putting it on. a little bit because of the rice and maybe get a little toasty. I wonder if this is one of the ones that was sweeter than what someone thought it would be. Because rice milk is not necessarily associated with, I mean, if you're buying unsweetened rice milk especially, not associated with like a heavy sweetness. This seems more like a concoction that you get at like the fancy tea shop. Like a, I was gonna say like a warm smoothie. I don't know how that works. It's got like, you know, it's like gelatinous somehow. But that's how it is. It's like thick and warm and toasty. Beautiful. I bet the sweetness is gonna settle down on this. That's my guess. I bet the sweetness is gonna dry out of it, and then it's just gonna be like the toastier, ricier parts of it. I would, it's funny, I would love to, I don't know if I want to smell that, but I would love to, I don't want to smell it on myself, but I would love to be with someone who smelled of it. That takes us to the next Idle Moon duet, which is Vanilla Husk and a bundle of twigs. We knew those twigs would come back. They're like Chekhov's bundle of twigs. Okay, Vanilla Husk. Between the twigs and the husk, I'm expecting something pretty twiggy and husky. Aren't you glad that you have me to supply insights like that? Wow, okay. So right off the nose, out of the bottle, this is quite reminiscent of our recent Edward Gorey House collaboration, The Dregs of a Bottle of Vanilla Extract Discovered in the Mud. It's a really similar kind of like deep, dark, kind of like evaporated down vanilla. And it's funny because since it's the vanilla husk, I can't tell if the woodiness that I'm tracking it to is entirely the twigs or if it's like the woodiness of the like the vanilla pod or whatever. It's like the vanilla beans when, you know, like you scrape them out and you're left with like the husk. It's like you scrape as deep as you can because the vanilla beans are expensive. Fascinating. It's a kind of a really lovely, it has a darkness to it for sure, but it definitely preserves this kind of like light and playful aspect of the original parent scent. And it just kind of like veers into those like shadows and wooded areas of it. Whereas the other ones kind of peeled off into the foodier, you know, or lighter directions. This one goes into the thicket. Wow. It's not as sweet as the dregs of vanilla extract scent. That, the darkness of it really rises up on the skin. It's really beautiful and really inviting in a kind of a dark, sinister way. If anything, what it's reminding me of is the darkness in Scarecrow Boy Toy, the perfume from the Dr. Caligari series that is like dusty rags and black tar and straw. There's it's like similarly dusty and dark and like resinous in a way that suggests just like, you know, I don't know, like an old shed where someone hasn't been for a long time, but their like stuff is still there. So it's like kind of cozy in an old creepy way, if that makes any sense. Again, I think it's really interesting how you could choose any of these to kind of like pair with the original to like take it in a different direction. Yeah, there's something really kind of like sticky about it, like dried down. The floor is sticky in this old shed. Wow. Like, go back and compare to the like jasmine rice, which is and white musk, which is just kind of like almost angelically light and ethereal and sweet. And this is just like it's like a slider and on the same like color gradient, like all the way with the like into the darkness. It's really amazing. What else we got? We got one more. That is our white tea and red ginger perfume oil. Okay, white tea, red ginger. So we're back at that tea, and no ginger was listed in the original Idle Moon scent, so pardon me. So it should be quite noticeable. As I say, as it like thoroughly makes me have like X's for eyes. Wow. Okay, it's really funny because the darkness and kind of like creepiness and moodiness of the one I just smelled was like forcibly banished. You know when you have like a like the pickled ginger or like a strong tea, and it feels like it definitely, you don't have to believe in anything for this to be the case. It feels like it is just like purging the like demons out of you. Uh, this is like why I think, you know, everyone when they're sick, they're like, oh, you have to have like lots of garlic and lots of pepper and like lots of ginger and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't know if medically it like is really doing anything, but it certainly feels on a spiritual level as if you're just being completely purged of evil, that like nothing dark and unwholesome could withstand that influence. That's what it feels like. I barely remember that shed now. The white tea is kind of here a relatively like thin and flat scent. Like it's a kind of like just like before it was just an accent, like a bite of the tea, like a bit of an herbal bite. And here it doesn't have that much to do. I mean, in the bottle, I haven't tested it yet, but like because the ginger is just so bold, and so let's just give her, you know, some room to like seethe and prowl and do whatever she's got to do, I guess. This straight up smells like a Chinese medicine shop or like cabinet full of cures. Glass bottles, strange pouches, charts that are meaningless to me. There is like so there's a freshness to it, of course, but it also has like a really dedicated like earthiness, like a rooty ginger quality. So it's not like fully like an outdoors in the garden scent either. This is like, if not a cellar, a room that not everyone is allowed to go into. And you certainly wouldn't want to just like, you know, taste anything. I hear a bus. We're on a school bus route. There's school buses. This is really beautiful. This is like nice and bracing. Like it's lively. This is a good like wake up scent. I like it. It's funny because it's like the white tea is not like a super caffeinated beverage. So, but like that's what you have the ginger for, to just kind of like kick you in the face. Yeah, bright, lively, from the earth, so you know it's good. Like a lovely organic ginger, like the big pile of root that you just like break pieces off of and cut them up and put them right in the mug with the hot water. That's what this is like. Sweetness level, not applicable. You know, maybe a 2, and that's just maybe because I'm just like looking for it. And I have it right down the arm from the jasmine rice and white musk scent. And I can say, going back and forth between them, that that is a beautiful thing to find myself doing, the back and the forth. It's just like, you know, the burn and then the salve, the burn and then the salve, like back and forth. I don't know how well they'd play together if I like actually layered them on each other, but they are complementary enough to where that is just like a beautiful thing to do. I would very much like to put one on one arm and one on the other, and then of course just like distract myself by I could do like a whole sit and be fit aerobics class that just like revolves around smelling different parts of the body. So that's Idle Moon and the Duets. If only that were all there is, though, because we have 2 new scents here from the Prophet, which I do have, and the Art scents, which I'm not covering. But Beth also made 2 different snake oil variants for this launch, which I would love to summon the stamina to tackle right now live for 12 people. Oh, 11. Happened right in front of me. Maybe they saw that I had wrapped up with these and thought I was going to stop talking because they've never seen this before. And they don't know that I'll actually talk and talk and talk actually all the way until I'm fully dead. So, well, I have them. I sure have them. One of them is Snake Bouquet, and one of them is Snake in the Grass. That means that over the course of the past month, with the, oh my gosh, so we had the Lupercalia snake oil variants, which was Serpent in the Opium poppies, Serpent in the Carnations, Serpent in the Lilacs, Snakeskin came back, which was the leather variant, and Serpent in the Roses, I think, also came back. So that's like, what, 5? And then we had the Idle Moon, which brought Bouquet and Blade of Grass, and then we just did the brick-themed snake oil for the Pride series. And so we are kind of in a snake oil-essence right now, which I'm enjoying the hell out of. And I have to imagine others are too if they get to smell me. So I'm gonna smell these again in the order that they are in the link that I shared in the description of this video. And we'll do the Snake Bouquet first. Preamble from Beth about her gardening. And she says, I've created something for myself that I want to share, a snake oil infused bouquet of poppies, peonies, melancholy heartsease, and the last bruised winter hellebores, dusted with sandalwood and bound with a vanilla white silk ribbon. This has like enough extra things in it to where I wonder if it will even be trackable as snake oil at all. But she didn't make this specifically as a version of snake oil to sell. She made this is just Beth artistically tinkering and discovering something that she enjoyed. So let's find out. All of these bottles have been miraculously free of dog hair. That's how you know they have not been in this house very long. Wow. I'm doing that thing I mentioned earlier. Delicately through both nostrils and then across the palate. Not to be pedantic, I'm sure a lot of you have been smelling perfumes, you know, as long as I have, maybe longer than my whole life. Some folks are new here. They didn't have anyone to talk to about it. Okay. So, I don't know what hellebore smells like. I don't know what heartsease is. I know of sandalwood. If I had to guess, just as an uneducated casual sniffer, someone was commenting about the proliferation of pet fur on a bottle. Let me tell you, I spent 2/3 of my work life zapping dog hairs out of photographs, and my own and also Ted's. If I was smelling this, I would have guessed maybe a carnation, just because it has a bit of that kind of silky creaminess, but I think that what I'm smelling is the white silk ribbon in that instance. And also, there's no telling, like, it might have some carnation oil in it, I don't know. I would say color palette wise, it's not a colorful bouquet of flowers, which makes sense if you even look at the label art that she chose. It is actually kind of almost like creamy sepia toned, like the label. That's fascinating. Like lacy. Like it doesn't give me flowers exactly, except for maybe because I'm dependent normally on the colors that are thrown into a lot of our floral scents to kind of like distinguish what's going on. Oh, that's a really nice bright golden oil. Okay, stain me. Okay, so I know I can smell the poppies on the skin largely because of having smelled the serpent and the opium poppies, which when I smelled that video, I said that poppy is not a scent note that I'm super familiar with. But now I'm starting to be able to track it more because of these little experiments. So there is like a really kind of like a deep darkness in the poppy that I recognize. The peony, I do know that one a bit from some of my old faves, but I can't like pick it out here. There's definitely just like some, it's almost like dried flowers, like stems and roots and flowers, and that's where I think the snake oil is going to come in because of like the resinous quality and like the patchouli, like the rootiness of it. It's very beautiful, and it reminds me of like a bouquet of flowers that you keep for way too long because somebody gave it to you or it marks a particular occasion and then it just stays forever. And then years go by and then you can't get rid of it because you've just kept it this long. There is like a bit of life in it. I mean, it's not like fully just like dried out, desiccated. But it's so tinged with that like sepia toned quality that it's like a historical photograph. So it's like kind of like the ghost of flowers, if that makes any sense. And it's beautifully blended together where I really do have a hard time picking out any particular floral or botanical note other than to just say that they're here together, doing something. A little bit now, the vanilla is kind of starting to like come forward. But it's truly not the sweetened version that like Snake Oil's vanilla is like a sugared vanilla, and this again is like a kind of a ghost bouquet. Oh, really lovely, really lovely. I like how in this case it's like snake oil is the canvas and the bouquet is like the subject on the canvas, if that makes any sense. That's what I'm getting from that one. And then now I can do Monsieur Snake in the Grass, which I wrote to Beth when I saw we were doing this, and I was like, how did it take us this long to do a Snake in the Grass fragrance? My number one reference for Snake in the Grass is Bob Fosse in the movie musical version of The Little Prince, which is one of the craziest movies ever made that definitely doesn't seem like it was made for kids, to the extent that The Little Prince is even a children's book, which it barely is. And even more so, this movie is just like made by like, it feels like it was made by sweaty old people on drugs. And one of those sweaty old people on drugs is Bob Fosse, who appears as the snake in an extended, troublingly long musical sequence full of Bob Fosse choreography that seems like sexual to the point of being completely inappropriate for the movie it's in. Very odd. And the song that he sings is Snake in the Grass. And sing it he does for long minutes, punctuated by, I think, several dance breaks. So it's probably on YouTube. Maybe I'll pop it into the comments. This perfume has nothing to do with any of that. There is a whole lovely preamble from our beautiful perfumer talking about the differences in living in Pennsylvania compared to California. And again, gardening. She's gardening, everyone. The scent is for everyone that's had to deal with that guy in your neighborhood. A sinuous stream of snake oil slithering through meadow flowers and clover. She made me say all those S's on purpose because I'm gay. Okay, so early on, when I started sniffing bee palette, one of my first favorites was a blade of grass. I don't remember why it was sent to me. I don't remember if I ordered it or if it was just in one of the swag bags. Like forever ago, I used to do shows in New York City, and the lab was a sponsor of our shows, and they would just send stuff. And I had a blade of grass, and I see people chasing that bottle in the forum quite regularly because it was just really, really great. That was back when a perfume that smelled like grass actually just seemed novel and unique, and it's the kind of thing now that many, many people have done their kind of take on that kind of scent. But not anyone could do a snake oil in the grass. And this reminds me of the blade of grass scent, though I haven't smelled it in many years. There's just that lovely, dense, kind of like darkness to it. Like the darkness, because you know, you look at the grass from the top and that's fine, but you step on it or you put your hands in it and you're immediately aware of like the coolness and the shadows and the things in the grass. That's what I get from this. And then the snake oil really pulls it back from being just like a stark, again, photorealistic, like grass scent. And there's just this curious warmth or this presence of like something familiar, because at this point, snake oil is like a character in my life story. So again, another really brilliant golden oil. I got through these really quickly. I think Galen is a bad influence on me. This is what I want. No offense to the bouquet. It's like, find a way to take a snapshot of a gorgeous, warm, sunny spring day and make it goth, right? Because there's kind of like a really strange ache in this that makes it strangely romantic. And it manages to accomplish something like that without like any of the floral notes that are associated with those feelings. Truly just with like the earth and the closeness to the grass. So sweetness, like less so even than the bouquet, I would say. I mean, so far, it's possible that some of that vanilla will leap out in a while. These oils have a long life, and as I've lamented often, it's a little unfair that I end up smelling and sharing impressions of just like in the bottle, fresh on the skin, if you're lucky, like 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe sometimes we do a recap at the end. There are lots of times where like an hour onward, I'm smelling something and I'm like, oh, this is such an interesting, unique, lovely part of the experience of wearing this fragrance that I simply can't manage to recap in a smelling video. Yeah, it's like got a little of that sepia color palette also, where it's somehow both kind of warm and cool at the same time, and I'm getting like the fresh grass scent in a photorealistic way, but it's like looking at an old photo of fresh grass, if that makes any sense. Like a childhood memory, or like, you know, I mean, weirdly, a lot of my childhood memories of my relatives come from looking at photos of them that were taken way before I was born, and somehow that ports over into our memory, even though we didn't come by it honestly exactly. I spent a lot of time thinking about this kind of thing because I spent a lot of time before I moved to LA collecting photographs. And on my own personal Instagram, which you do not have to follow, but it also is not creepy if you follow me there. I am Quality Fragments on Instagram. And I used to collect photos of women that I found in junk stores or antique stores. I mean, found photos and like old photos are just a great thing to collect if you don't have a lot of money, because often they're just very cheap. Um, or you just find them in books and stuff. If you buy used books, you often find photos and stuff used as a bookmark. When I worked at a used bookstore forever ago, there was a whole wall in the back that was just plastered in photos that they had found in books. I think that, I don't know why I started collecting photos of women other than the obvious in terms of like, as you can see how little my shorts are, that it was like a very gay interest or just kind of like related to my evolving interest in gender. But partly, if you're a photo collector, you really have to constrain yourself to a subject because otherwise there's just too many out there. So over the years, I collected hundreds and hundreds of photos, like, and they're all just like, some of them you could tell were like lost on purpose because they're not good photos of people and they're actually pretty funny because of how bad the photo is. And then other times they're just very beautiful. And I had stashed all these away for years and years. And then only recently in the last couple of months, I started posting them all on Instagram one at a time because I just realized that where they're sitting in like an album somewhere buried online in an old account, that like there was just no way anyone could look at them or use them or get any enjoyment out of them. So it's the series called Meet the Lady, and it's like an endless series of photos. And truly by now, people, anyone who's following me who doesn't know all of this probably wonders why this is happening and wishes that it would stop. But it's nice to see the folks who seem to get it. But there is really something about other people's treasured memories that like fell by the wayside that really reminds me of like a lot of like what happened in my family. And in some instances I was able to actually reunite some people with photos that they had like lost, and there was enough information with them for me to actually find a person and say, hey, I don't know why your photos are here, but I found them. So that was just a really fun project. Anyone who's watching live and sat through that tangent definitely deserves to be rewarded with a little Crow Moon product leak / tease. So mind you, up until the point when it's actually posted, descriptions can change. So if I say that Crow Moon has something in it and then it gets on the site and it doesn't, or like a duet changes or something, that's just like, that's showbiz. That's literally showbiz. So what I'm gonna do though is I will at least tell you right now that about the Crow Moon and the duets for that scent. Sound like a deal? Okay. All right. The Crow Moon, June Lunacy Crow Moon scent opens with a snippet of verse by Emily Dickinson that says, "The second time is set, whose crumbs the crows inspect, and with ironic claw flap past it to the farmer's corn. Men eat of it and die." Wow. Oh, Emily. Who doesn't want a summer vacation with Emily Dickinson? Okay, and the scent, it says, an ironic caw, dry hay absolute, syrupy candied fig, a lash of scathing pink pepper, and the dark gleam of bittersweet blackcurrant. Now that description is just out there on the digital wind. And the duets. There are 4 of them, as is our custom. We've got your molasses and fig. You got your black currant and black violet. You got your vanilla bean and hay. Hay. And you've got your dried fig and vetiver. And then you've got your Lunacy hair gloss for Crow Moon, which is black fig and cacao. All right, and then here, this is like the cruelest tease of all, is that with this month, we are actually starting to do, in addition to a Lunacy hair gloss, a Lunacy lotion. BPAL's making lotion now. That's right, gang. We're doing lotion. We, a month or so ago, debuted, maybe a little longer ago, debuted a new lotion formula that we did. We started it with a Haute Macabre fragrance called Garnet that is now available as a perfume and as a lotion. And we are also selling lotion, gang. This is great news for somebody who loves the idea of the partner product for Lunacy, like with the Duets, but does not wear hair gloss, because we all wear lotion. And if you don't wear lotion, you could probably stand to use a little lotion. Don't make someone else tell you that you should be using lotion. No, I'm just kidding. Not everyone can do a scented lotion. I completely understand. However, I will tell you that the BPAL lotion formula is extremely like a lovely, dense, heavy, creamy, like super moisturizing lotion that's made with real stuff that like belongs on human bodies. So we are doing, that's right, Lotion. Lunacy Lotion. So for Crow Moon, we are debuting our first ever Lunacy Lotion, which is, I don't also care. I mean, I think honestly there are so many lotions out there, we could distinguish ourselves in a really hoity-toity way by being the only Lotion on the market. Crow Moon Lotion, honeyed fig and sandalwood. Boom. There it is. The lotion oh, I don't have this handy. I was like, I have a bottle handy that I could show you the bottle. It comes in the same, like, flip-top little squeezy bottle that the bath oils come in. And I will say this. We have been testing lots of packaging for the Lotion. And it's a heavy and thick lotion, and I would say it's tricky in terms of like squeezing it out of the bottle. It's really in there. It's not like a runny lotion that just like blurps out. So this is all a work in progress. This is a bad time to be reviewing packaging options in terms of like imports. You know, it's not as easy to just try things out and get, like, we need a stable source of packaging that we can reliably use. So for now, we're using, also Beth told me that this, the bottle that we're using is, out of everything they tried, by far the best, most practical option in terms of application. So remember that, please, when you're like, you know, drumming the top of that thing on your table or whatever to like get some of the Lotion into your palm. And when we had the Garnet Lotion at the Lunacy event we did recently, and I assume we're gonna have the Crow Moon stuff at our Minneapolis Lunacy coming up on the 21st. So I'm hoping to have like little wooden tester sticks so people can just go whoop and like get a little scoop of the Lotion to try. So that one person after another doesn't have to go like bang, bang. So anyway, that's it. That's like the big surprise. And obviously we have the artworks of the month and the Prophet fragrances. I really want to, maybe I'll do this next week, sit down and do a proper The Prophet sniff through. That's a big collection ultimately, because if we're doing 2 per month plus the extra one, I think there's a few extras, we're talking like 25 total for the year of 2025 of the Prophet. I should get in there at the halfway mark-ish and smell as many of them as I can while this is still like a practical, attainable thing to do. So maybe next week I'll do some of that. And we still have Lupercalia stuff to sniff. We need to do the 7 Veils, definitely sniffing, and the On Lover's Lips series that smells like lipstick, which is the coolest thing ever. And I have not even been allowing myself to really enjoy wearing them yet because I want to do it with you. I feel like it needs to start, you know, as a group effort. So much to sniff. I'm really glad we got this out of the way before Crow Moon like avalanches us, and then I'll get that box next week and then have to do a whole other one of these. But I really appreciate those who sat with me live in my very pinkness and my little gay shorts and my cute little gay shoes to sit and smell a whole bunch of perfumes. And I hope you're going to have a lovely late spring June weekend. And even as I'm talking, I'm like facing a window and I'm watching the cottonwood seeds just like drift by in a very sort of Miyazaki way that is luring me to go outside and have a mystical animal encounter. I'll probably have to bring my own mystical animal for that. Who's back in the crate? So we're going to spring him and go do some stuff. And then we have all of this lunacy to unroll. So thank you for listening. And I'm just going to hop off now. 65 minutes. Nice. Have a good one. Boop.